The high and mighty king of the monsters who lives deep under Mount Ebott, Asgore Dreamer. Despite being a monster king, he's well respected and loved by all of his subjects, and that isn't unearned. He's a very kind soul, wanting nothing more than to see his people happy. Even when he and his kind were trapped behind a barrier underground by humans, he did his best to make sure that nobody lost their hope. He was content with his life for a while, that is until the day when, once again, the humans took everything from him. The day when he lost both of his dear children. Heartbroken and enraged, he vowed to take the soul of every human who found themselves in the underground, wanting to use those souls to make himself a god, tear down the barrier, and then destroy all of humanity. It was something he didn't want to do, but grief generally leads to poor judgment, and this decision also caused him to lose his beloved wife, leaving the Broken King with nothing. Even though he lost so much, he continued to lead his people, doing so that they may never lose the hopes of one day finally being free. Now, despite what his ex might tell you, Asgore has both a strong will and great power to back it up, as any king should. And when coming to Smash, he'll show everyone exactly why he is the king of the monsters. So getting right into things, Asgore would be a fairly heavy character what with his hulking dad bod. He'd have 2 jumps and no additional movement options. In terms of what Asgore does, we know very little due to the fact that you don't ever meet him until the end of any given run. And in the one fight he does have, what we see him do is fairly limited. What we do know is that he is an adept user of fire magic, and that he wields a powerful red trident as his main weapon. He also holds it upside down for some weird reason. Don't know why, but I just thought I'd point that out. Regardless, any Smash moveset for Asgore will probably be as straightforward as he is, but he will be using attacks that exude a certain amount of power and authority. Most people I've seen think of Asgore as this dorky dad pushover type of guy. Even many of his subjects seem to see him in this light. Not too surprising, I suppose. He wants to be respected as a kind ruler to his people, but despite that, when he gets serious, he radiates a power that'll send chills down anyone's spine. But enough about all of that, let's go ahead and get into his attacks, starting with his jabs, of course. He can have a 3-hit jab that starts with him taking the tail end of his trident and swinging it forwards. This then leads into him doing a straight kick forwards, and the jab ends with Asgore taking his trident and swinging it overhead from high to low, hitting the prongs against the ground. Each hit of this jab will slightly propel Asgore slightly forwards. His dash attack can have him halt his run by stabbing the trident into the ground. His whole body can deal damage, but it'll very much hurt the most if a foe is hit by the prongs while they stab down. The side tilt can simply have him slap the side of his trident forwards, with the prong stopping right in front of Asgore. His up tilt can have Asgore do an overhead headbutt from back to front, swinging his horns to deal damage to foes above him. And his down tilt can be a low horizontal trident swipe that he swings across the ground for a fairly long-ranged attack. Now for Asgore's smash attacks, these can incorporate the tactic of his blue and orange trident strikes, where you see his eyes twinkle a certain color, and depending on the order of the colors that flash, determine the order his trident glows as he swings it. With blue requiring you to stand still, and orange requiring you to move through it to avoid damage. For his smash attacks, his trident will change colors depending on how you angle the control stick while unleashing the attack, allowing you to have 3 different attributes for all 3 of his smash attacks. You can of course keep it normal, which deals the least damage but is guaranteed to actually deal damage so long as the attack lands. You can make it blue, which will deal extra damage if you hit a foe while they're moving, and you can make it orange, which deals a little bit more damage than blue, but only if they're standing still when you hit them, which is much less likely to happen, but all the more rewarding if it does. As for the attacks themselves, the side smash can be a simple trident stab straight forwards. Holding the control stick straight will keep the trident red, tilting it up will make it blue, and tilting it down will make it orange. The up smash can have Asgore swing his trident overhead from front to back. Hold it straight up for normal, tilt it forwards for blue, and tilt it back for orange. And his down smash can be a direct reference to his trident attack during his Undertale fight where he swings his trident from side to side. He'll swing it twice for this down smash, swinging it from front to back, then back to front. Hold it straight down for normal, tilt it forwards for blue, and tilt it back for orange. And as a unique trait for the down smash only, you can actually change the trident's colors right before the second swing simply by holding the control stick into a new direction during the first swing. For his neutral aerial, he'll hold his trident towards the screen and spin it while both sides of the trident are lit in flames, dealing multi-hitting damage before launching the confos. This move is a combined reference to his Circle of Flames attack, as well as that weird spinning trident thing that ended up being cut from the game. It's, quite mesmerizing to watch. The forward air can have Asgore swing his trident forward from low to high while the prongs are ablaze. The back air can have him stab the prongs of his trident straight backwards, and at the apex of the stab, a small combustion occurs that deals quite a bit of damage. The up air can make Asgore stab his trident upwards 3 times at 3 different angles. It has great vertical reach, but its horizontal capabilities are lackluster. Also, only the third stab will launch foes. The first 2 hits only cause flinching. And the down air can be a trident swing from high to low, with the prong stopping right below himself. This attack will spike foes if they're hit by the sweet spot. Asgore no doubt would have some powerful throws. He would grab with one arm and pummel with a knee jab. His forward throw can have him throw the foe into the ground in front of himself, bouncing the foe forwards into the air. The back throw can be a simple horizontal turnaround toss, chucking the foe backwards with a single hand. His up throw could reference his erupting flames attack from his fight, conjuring fire into the foe that sends him into the air. And the down throw can have Asgore pin the foe down by stabbing them into the ground with his trident, then cause an explosion at the prongs, dealing damage while knocking the foe away. For Asgore's basic attacks, he made full use of his trident, so now for his special attacks, he'll be taking full advantage of his magical powers as a monster to utilize his strongest fire magic. For his neutral special, he'll use an attack that I'm going to call the Heat Wave. This references the attack during his fight where he waves his hand across the screen, leaving fireballs to shoot at Frisk. For Smash, he'll wave one of his hands from low to high forwards, creating fireball projectiles that appear from his hand and travel slowly outwards. They spread apart the further they go until eventually petering out, and they deal small flinching damage to any foe who touch any of the fireballs. This is a move that would be excellent for both keep away as well as stage control, as Asgore himself is immune to his own fireballs so long as they aren't reflected, of course. For his side special, this will be an innovated attack that'll have Asgore charge straight forwards while his body radiates heat, then at the apex of his tackle, swing his flaming trident diagonally forwards. It can be used for horizontal recovery. Getting hit by Asgore's body as he charges will knock foes out of the way, launching them upwards. Getting hit by the trident while he swings it deals major damage while launching foes forwards. Some embers will also fly off the trident when he swings it, which deals small flinching damage to foes. You are also able to cancel the attack early and have Asgore swing his trident sooner by pressing the special button again mid-charge. Be careful when doing this in the air though, because Asgore will always go into freefall after he swings his trident. Now for Asgore's up special, this can be an attack that includes a reference to his waving embers move, but for the most part, much like most of this moveset, it is animated. Asgore will cause an explosion under his feet, which will propel him upwards. While rising, his body will drop flames that form into those wave patterns that peter out pretty quickly. In terms of the mechanics of this special, the initial explosion that launches Asgore upwards will also launch any foe too close at upward angles as well. It deals decent damage, but it won't be getting any KOs unless the foes are at really high percents. Asgore's body can also damage foes as he ascends, but it isn't very strong. He'll also go into freefall right afterwards, as you would expect. He does have some super armor when he first initiates the attack, but only right at the start of it. And as for the flames that emit from him as he rises, they deal some small flinching damage at most, so they can be used as a good gimping tool, but relying on it too much might be risky. And finally, for Asgore's down special, this'll have him superheat his trident to the point of it being engulfed in fire, then throws it as a powerful projectile. Getting hit by the trident deals quite a bit of damage, but not a whole lot of knockback, as it'll more so pierce through foes as it flies. If he's on the ground, he'll throw it forwards at a downward angle, and if he's in the air, he'll throw it straight down. It will just disappear if it goes a certain distance without hitting a part of the stage, but if it does hit the stage, about a second after it sticks into the ground, it'll ignite into a roaring fire. Any foe trapped in this fire emitted by the trident will take a hefty amount of damage, then be launched upwards after the flames conclude. When the flames do go out, the trident just vanishes from that spot. But don't worry, thanks to magic, Asgore will just conjure up a new trident out of flames. He does so a bit after throwing the trident that he was just using, but while he's making a new one, he's unable to make any other action, so he is vulnerable up until he has his new trident. This special overall references his attack pattern that involves the flames that slowly fall in the center of the battle box, which are then complemented by an eruption of flames that appear after a warning. Throwing the flaming trident represents the small amount of flames that fall, which becomes much more apparent if the special is used in the air, and the flames erupting from the trident comes from the erupting flames from that attack pattern. And that does it for Asgore's attacks. Fairly simple, right? Please, this is an Undertale moveset. You guys know there's much more to it than just that. As much as most people trying to do their pacifist runs don't want to, when you fight Asgore, you're forced to fight him. You have no other option but to do so no matter how much you try to avoid it. And his fight has a gimmick that guarantees that players will eventually choose to fight him no matter what, because the longer you try to avoid fighting him, the harder he progressively becomes. He gets more difficult because he slowly moves faster and faster the longer the fight drags on for, eventually reaching a point where not fighting will just lead to your demise no matter how hard you try, forcing players to eventually realize that they have to end things as soon as possible in order to stand a chance at all. So for Smash, I'll be giving Asgore the same kind of gimmick that we see during his fight in Undertale. He'll always start a match with pretty sluggish frame data, making his attacks come out at dreadfully slow rates. But as the match progresses, the speed of his frame data will slowly increase, overall increasing his attack speed and making him progressively more dangerous the longer the match drags on for. This will reset whenever he loses a stock, reverting him back to his slowest when he respawns. But during that one stock, I'd say that it should take maybe about a full 3 minutes before we can get to his top capped speed. So as such, it's up to any player fighting Asgore to not let things go on for too long and to KO him ASAP. And on the flip side, survivability should be the #1 thing on the minds of anyone playing as Asgore, making sure they can stay alive for as long as they can for each stock to ensure that they can give themselves the best fighting chance against their opponents. Keep up the pressure and turn up the heat to really make the other players sweat as you gradually become faster and harder to deal with, just like when you fight Asgore in Undertale. What, were you expecting more? Another form or multiple modes or something? Well, sorry to disappoint, but with Asgore, there's no need. As I said at the beginning, Asgore is pretty straightforward. There's no tricks or backup plans, you fight him and that's it. It just boils down to whether you win or lose his one fight. Now, I can already hear it. A lot of you watching are probably screaming at your screens saying that I'm forgetting someone that could be a part of this moveset. You're referring to the former queen Toriel, aren't ya? I've seen plenty of people suggest that she be an Echo fighter, a duo character alongside Asgore, or even some switchable character. Well, sorry to burst everyone's bubble, but I have to hard disagree with all of those. She can't be an Ice Climbers-esque duo character since she fights nothing like Asgore. She has fire powers, yes, but we've never seen her use a trident, so we don't even know if she can use one. And it's for that same reason why she can't be an Echo fighter. The majority of the moves that I gave to Asgore have him use his trident, so at that point, Toriel may as well be her own fighter. And just having them fight together overall, I think just won't work. Mainly because, well, I called her the former queen for a reason. She's his ex. She super dumped that guy. Toriel wants nothing to do with Asgore whatsoever. Ever since he made the decision to steal the souls of any human who fell into their domain, Toriel was just
PJ?
so disgusted by him that she straight up ran off to live in some abandoned ruins. And even after she was willing to confront him to save Frisk's life, she just wanted nothing to do with him. She didn't even want to be associated with the Dreamer name.
PJ!
What, Brian? What is it?
Your guest is here.
Oh. Awkward. For Asgore's final smash, this will have him use a much more true-to-form version of his Undertale attack patterns as he envelops the entire stage in an inferno. Flames and fireballs will cover the entire area, moving in the same way that they do during his boss fight. Everywhere you turn, you will be faced with a literal bullet hell onslaught of fire. Every flame will deal big damage and launch foes, and generally if you get hit by even one, more likely than not, you're gonna get hit into another, ultimately leading you to be launched off screen. Avoiding the burning wrath of the Monster King is no easy feat, though luckily Asgore will not be moving during this as he'll be too busy conjuring the flames. Like most others, this final smash lasts for 5 seconds, and while it is possible to avoid it, more often than not, you are going to get burned. Outside of one other outfit, Asgore mostly dons his royal armor and cape, so that of course would be his default costume. And as for the alts, we can keep things simple and base them around the colors of the human souls, which Asgore is closely associated with since, you know, he tore them out of the humans they belong to. Anyways, his first can be a red alt, then orange, then yellow, then green, then teal, then blue, and instead of the last soul, which is already the same as his default colors, we can just give him that aforementioned other outfit that we see him in. The pink Hawaiian dad shirt. Don't forget to pick one of these up for your dad on Father's Day. I'm sure he'll love it. His stage intro will actually show him already on the stage turned around, as if he was waiting for the other fighters to come to him, just like how he was waiting for Frisk at his castle in Undertale. But here he quickly turns towards his foes and readies his trident immediately to prepare for his fight. For taunts, his first will show him spin his trident in hand while it emits heat, then poses. During this, he asks, "Are you ready?" His second can have him conjure a fireball in one of his hands that he lightly tosses up and down while saying, "Perfect day for a game of catch." And his last taunt can have him cover himself up with his cape, then puts his head down, slightly hiding his face in the shadows. You then see one of his eyes twinkle. This references the tell that he does right before using his multicolored Triton attack. I figured it can work as a taunt since it won't really work for the smash attacks. And finally for the victory animations, the first can have him swing his Triton out from under his cape, then stab it into the ground. This references the beginning of his fight when he destroys the mercy button. During this, he'll say sternly yet sadly, "I'm sorry." His second can just show him turning around facing his back towards the screen while he covers himself back up with his cape. During this, he'll say, "You must stay determined." This references one of the quotes that you can get if you ever get a game over, implying here that, since you lost to Asgore, you got a game over. And his final can show Asgore simply watering a large patch of golden flowers around his feet while singing a little tune, referencing the first thing that you ever see him doing when you finally reach his castle to confront him. And that does it for What If Asgore Dreamer was in Smash. Definitely my most simplistic Undertale moveset, but it's appropriate because Asgore himself is a fairly simplistic character. So, is there anything that you'd like to say to the folks at home, Mr. Dreamer? That's fair. Anyways, if you liked what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to support the show and help me be able to make more content for you guys, you can click the join button either below the video or my main page to become a sponsor for my channel. Doing so will get you access to my private Discord, as well as channel emotes. You can guarantee that your name appears in my videos, or even get the option of knowing what if character is coming up next a week in advance. I really appreciate anything that can be contributed. And of course, if you have a character that you'd like to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below or contact me on Twitter at BrawlFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, thank you so much for watching!